as an aside, if you're not speaking, if you can please mute yourself, because as Monica was saying, it's tough to get a lot, the microphones pick up backup noise and stuff like that. So we just want to make it as easy as possible for her. But why don't we just stand for a pledge of allegiance and then we'll have our meeting. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight.
Bill, do we have four
As-
members? Do we have?
Yes, we have Kristen, myself, Bev Kennedy, and Jim Cretella. And actually, these are workshops. They're not formal meetings, as it were. So anyone, even including alternates, were there to show up, can ask questions and just kind of go through, our process. So with that, Doug, are you on by chance? I don't hear him. I'll assume, unless he signs in, that he's not going to be on tonight. But first up is Public Works. So I'll turn it over to Tony DePrimo, the boss of Public Works. Tony, you're on.
All right, well, my standard budget presentation is pretty much pretty similar to last budget. We're always in shortfalls in our winter accounts. And I asked for a little more money there. Hazardous trees. There's always to ask for more money to keep addressing these trees all over town, which we've been very good at. We've been trimming trees quite often, and it's making for a difference with trees being down and everything. Let's see, the big deal for me this year is I really could use a couple more seasonals. So I asked for more money in that account for seasonal help to take on some of the added work that we've been getting handed to us. We have a cemetery coming, I guess, that we may have to be maintaining, Board of Ed, grounds maintenance. We've also taken on all this town buildings, ground maintenance. And, it's getting to be a difficult task. We're in need for a couple more seasonals in that account. So I asked for a little more funding there. And then for our, let's see. There it is. And then our capital investment budget, we did ask for a large plow truck, a smaller mason dump that we usually get budgeted for once a year. And then we're going to need a few mowers for our all our grounds maintenance, being the Board of Ed, parks. I did talk to the administration. We did do an investment this year at a fraction of the cost where we refurbished one of our older trucks, where we were able to get another 10 to 12 years out of it. And we planned for 2 of those trucks to do the refurbishing. And it was a fraction of the cost of one new truck. Being that we did this project, the first truck that we did is finished. Actually, we get it back on Friday. That kind of gave us some wiggle room with our request for our large dump truck. So if that helps at all for financial reasoning, we could delay that until next budget year for the new dump truck. But we still would need our new mason dump this year. And then finally, we have all our department accomplishments that I thought would be worthy to show the board for our 1920 budget year. And it gives you the stats and pretty much everything the department has done.
One question, if I may ask, while I've got you, we've got you here. Your overall budget total is 2,006,126.
Okay,
No, I'm reading it off of what's in our budget book. I
yeah,
just want to make sure, is that the number you're dealing with?
is that the number you're reading? I would assume that'd be the number.
Well, the only reason I asked that, and Doug, I see you've signed on. In the budget detail that our board received for 2021-22, the public works budget is $1,927,000, the budget request.
Yeah.
And part of it has to do with, you have your F-550 truck in your budget for 90,000.
Correct. That was
But
moved from our
there-
operating budget to the capital side. But I
Correct.
I
So,
was told that would come to us. For that,
and the other difference is, as I look at it, I'm not sure what they are. Doug,
Uh-huh. Yes,
what I need you to do for Monday is, you need to go through what's essentially all of the budgets in our budget book for the different departments. And you need to go through that printout, the department detail by line items that you printed out for the board. And they have to agree, because I get, if Tony has 90,000 for a truck in his line item, you need to put that in the printout you give us. We can take it out later if it goes to capital and stuff, but we have to make sure that we're looking at and talking about the same budgets. Like on the police department, there was a difference. Public works, there's a difference. And I did also notice that when we get to sanitation and transfer station, in Tony's packet, in the budget book, it's 112,721. On the budget detail that has been printed out, there's 114,964. I would ask, and I need you to go through this entire departmental detail by line item and make sure everything in our budget book agrees to the proposed budget column for 21-22. And when you get that done, email it out to everybody in PDF. We can all print it, but
Yeah.
we've got to make sure we're starting with the same numbers when we talk to all of these departments.
I would just, if I could, I point out one typo of my error.
Okay.
If everyone looks, and my apologies. The highway materials, I did forget to put that into my proposed budget for 22, which is the amount of $50,000. So if you could just add that number in.
Highway materials.
Yeah.
Okay. That's,
See,
well, we're actually even. You have 10, and what I'm looking at on this printout is 10. But Doug, take what Tony has said and add 50 to both sides. So it'll be a $60,000 budget for highway materials, not a $10,000 budget.
Well, there is one account for transfer station, I believe.
Yep.
And then there's another account for highways. I don't know where you're looking.
And no,
at.
there is. No,
But
I'm
talking-
what I'm
I'm
looking
talking-
at, Tony. Yeah, no, and I know what you're talking about, highway materials, 575 accounts, and we have the same thing. So, but if you're saying put 50 in just for purposes of talking about the budget, that's fine. We can put it
Okay.
in. We're
I just
obviously gonna
want
go
to
through
make sure
all
that
these.
was
We're
noted
gonna go
that
through all these later.
okay.
That's fine. We can go through this, but at least we know your stuff is complete to
Right.
what we've been given as a board from the finance department.
Right.
So we're all talking, starting on the same page. So,
Got it.
given that you want to, I mean, you can keep going into highway materials and then transfer station, street lighting, go. So I'll take it away again.
Yeah, the street lighting doesn't, I have no involvement with that really. I haven't done anything with that. Tony Caserta may be able to answer more questions regarding street lighting. I know there was a big project underway where it went all LED. You know, I wouldn't be able to give you any information on that.
Yeah, the street lighting looks as if, this is Tony Caserta. The street lighting is pretty much under control. We've got the electrical side of it down. The only problem that we've had is that we've built in repairs to any damages that occurs to our lights. So we think it's a pretty good number, but we're going to start to look at that a little more closely now.
Okay, simple. I mean, and one of the things I noticed, Tony, was it's 117,400, which is the same budget as a year ago for the 2021. And again, Doug, when you go through and reprint this, if you can update the actuals year to date and make it as current as possible, because these numbers are actual year to date numbers are approximately 2 months old. And that really doesn't tell us much about current activity. But if you're saying 117,400 again, Tone is a good number.
Yeah, it's a good number. The only thing that changes that number are the frequency and the amount of damage that's done to the lights. We own the lights now. So that's where we get our efficiencies and the amount of electricity that we use. We're still, way under what we used to pay for electricity, but the repairs are starting to mount up on us. We think we'll be pretty close to that number this year, and we're hoping that we can get a better handle on it next year. Hopefully that we won't have as many problems as we had.
Okay. All right. I guess that takes us to transfer station.
Yeah, and then transfer station, garbage is a tough line item to budget for. I don't know how we put more control on it. We are tracking and we kind of tracked where it comes from, the different areas being curbside, the schools. What are the trucks, our trucks bringing in? And then we could come up with an approximated number of what's being delivered from town residents. But other than that, to have a control on that, like being that this COVID times, garbage is up. And that's because a lot of folks have been home. So they do, cleanups and such, and you generate more trash. But
I have a note, something about, is there a new contract coming up
yes,
that's going to affect this upcoming fiscal year?
well, it's not so much for garbage, just for operations. Our vendor that does the service work. That's going to have to go out to bid for July. That's more of operational. Who's going to pick it up and haul it?
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying, because the budget number that's in here is 1,113,000, which is the same money as the current budget we're in now, 1,113,000. So I'm guessing, should we expect some sort of increase on this. I don't know what it would be, 2%, 5% or whatever, but
Well,
if
I-
we could get some kind of
we-
idea,
yeah, I mean, I don't know, how would you do that until the bids come in?
no, no,
mean,
I understand. I understand that.
Yeah.
Let me ask this, when is the bid process for this going to start?
This, it's going to be for July. That's when the contract is up for the service.
No, I understand. I
So,
understand. I understand that, but is it possible to start the bid process earlier?
yeah, we're gonna start that. That'll be done within, the next month or so to go out with everything.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, because if we could get an idea of what the
Yeah.
bids look like when they come in,
Yeah,
hopefully before we have to pass
Yeah.
our recommended budget, then we can, if
Yeah.
this 113 is too low, we'll get a framework as to, okay, we got to bump this up by whatever. Or lower it
Yeah.
if we really caught a break, which I would tend to doubt, but
yeah,
but
but yeah, absolutely.
But I think
That'll
it-
be going out by early, I would say, mid-March, we can have that go out by. So, but you're right.
okay, yeah, that would be fine if we could get something like that, maybe send it out mid-March, if we could get an answer back by the first week of April.
Yeah.
Or send it out beginning of March. If we could send it out beginning of March, get an answer by mid-March towards the end of March, we at least, the sooner the better, we could get some idea on what these numbers look like.
Okay,
Because we don't want to budget 1,113,000 and then all of a sudden find out that the best price we could get would be 1,004,000 or some silly
Right.
such number like that.
Understood.
We don't want to get surprised if we don't have to.
yep,
Okay, thank
This is
you.
Tony Caserta again. There has been some documentation
Hey, Tony.
that's come down from CCM. And some of the
Yep.
prices for the hauling and the recycling, and mostly it's on the recycling end. The companies used to net off what they
Okay.
took in for recycling against our contract. And I guess those numbers have really changed. And some of the other towns have seen significant increases in their fees for curbside pickup.
for recycling.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for the curbside pickup. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see when we put it out.
Well, I will tell you then, the quicker that the bids can go out, the better. Because
Yeah.
if we're talking significant, the quicker that RFP can go out for bid, have it come back and get an idea of numbers. Because I'm guessing this 1,113,000, that's not going to hold. And we've got to have an idea as fast as we can get an idea as to what this number could be. So that's
Okay.
why, as fast as this stuff can go out, the better.
All right,
Okay. In the sanitation transfer station, Tom? That's at 100 and, where did I just see that? It's 112,721.
yeah. And the only thing we're
Anything
looking
of
for
note
there,
or?
well, we got a scale that's pending. That was, for this budget year. And I believe the money's still there, but I need direction, whether it's a yay or a nay, to proceed this year or hold off.
Is that the $80,000
Yeah.
we're talking about?
Yes,
Okay. All right. Because I'm just looking down, we've got salaries, overtime, repair and maintenance, obviously, wood
yeah,
grinding.
that's all,
Another 10.
that's all pretty good.
Okay. Well, first off, does anybody on our board or anyone have any questions of Tony regarding any of the budgets, highway maintenance, materials, sanitation, waste collection, anything Anybody, anything they would like to ask him on his proposed budget?
I did just have one question, Betty Ann. Same as what Bill mentioned earlier about it's the same as it was last year. Is that just a coincidence? Or we're just sticking to what we've got?
I'm sorry?
Well, when Bill was asking the question earlier, I didn't hear the answer on it, just the same as last year. The overall numbers.
Oh, that one's on me, Betty Ann. No, I think you're talking about waste collection.
Okay.
That's the same number. It's big number, hasn't changed.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's not gonna change till we get a handle on what the new bids will be. But
Got
they
it.
had to put something in there. We couldn't just have, 0 in there or something like that. So the old numbers are just as good until we get our arms around what the new numbers could possibly be.
With the contract. Okay. Yep. That was the
Yep.
same as what I thought. Thank you very much.
Exactly right.
Yep.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Anybody else? Any questions for Tony? I mean, I'll compliment him on the job his guys are doing with the roads and the streets before the snow, looking clean
Absolutely.
and decent and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very nice.
Even if he is a Patriots fan, I won't hold that against him.
Ah,
Any other questions concerning public works or highways maintenance or anything? And obviously, Tone, like we tell all our departments, when we start our deliberations and we go through the line items and we kind of look at numbers in different settings, if we have questions and all, we'll obviously give you a call because you're the guy that knows this stuff.
Yeah. But,
But for now,
if I could at least, and I spoke to the administration and they're very supportive, but at the same time, Board of Finance, where I'm really struggling now is, our seasonal account to get a couple more part-time guys in there would be great. And then to start replacing a few of these mowers. So, those are a couple big ones that if for anything, it'd be great if they could really have consideration to that.
now in your
And then our
budget,
mates
Tone,
account.
in your budget, where are the mowers and all? What line item are they in?
I put them in a capital budget request as a budget
Oh,
request.
okay, so
if you read-
they're not in this. Okay, they're not in this.
No.
They're in the capital equipment budget. then.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. That's good. Keep doing a good
So-
job.
No, that's good because we're dealing with operations here and the capital is the second part of this thing. So, okay, I guess in that regard, if there's no other questions, stay safe and warm and have a good night. Thanks for coming.
thank you for having me.
Drive carefully. Haha.
Well, I'm home.
Who's a joke?
I love this Zoom stuff. It's great. Have a good evening, everyone.
It is not bad.
You too. Okay. Let's see. So next up, we have Parks, and I understand Bill Peck can't make it tonight, so I understand Tony Caserta is going to play the part of Bill Peck in talking about the Parks Department. So, Tony, you're on.
Okay, if you look at the budget, there's really not a lot of change in it. One of the things that shows a pretty good increase of about $5,000 is the tree account. We've recently been appraised that people want to use Laura Lane Park, so that's going to take a pretty extensive amount of cleanup just to get all the debris and everything off the trails. So that park could be used. So that's why we put the extra $5,000 in there for trees. And then the other thing that you might see is that $15,000 on machinery and equipment. It was left out last year because from the prior year, we had a surplus in some other accounts, and we bought equipment from that prior year, so we didn't budget anything for the current year we're in, but we're gonna budget the 15,000 for equipment and maintenance in the future budget.
Tony, what type of equipment are you looking at?
We usually buy stuff that supports the parks. We buy small, weed whackers. We buy mowers for them. We usually get them one pretty good sized piece, and then the others they use to fill in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the Public Works who does the maintenance in the parks. I can tell you, from my perspective, French Park, they do a phenomenal job. Keep the field trimmed, neat, clean it up when there's water and storms and all that stuff. But we've got so many parks in this town that takes equipment to cut grass and drag infields and things like that. And it's weed whackers and stuff. So it is an expensive proposition. I had heard a figure. I thought there was something like a dozen parks or better in the town. There's the obvious ones, French and Gary and Bungie and all, but there's quite a few, let's call them little ones tucked away. Got Little Laurel Ledge. You got one on Pershing Avenue. People that don't think of those as the common parks, but they take upkeep, and that's where they're coming from with this. Any other questions for Mr. Caserta on parks as to
Bill.
what's what? I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. Go ahead.
Bill, this is Jim. I have a question. All these small parks, who's doing the actual landscaping if the Public Works isn't doing it?
The Public Works is doing it.
So you buy equipment for them to do the parks?
Yes.
So he's asking for another large mower or a newer one? You guys share buying equipment, or?
Yeah, he doesn't have anything in his budget for parks equipment. So generally, it's whatever we put through capital and what we can fund through the operating budget.
So the mower, I guess he wants to buy is for cutting the school grass? Not cutting yours then.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what size mower he wants. There's, we've got a really big mower, then we've got, smaller mowers for different applications. And then we have, smaller mowers for other things. So I don't know exactly what he wants, but I'll talk to him.
Okay, I'm just curious. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to
That's it.
avoid, obviously, if there's a mower in parks, that the same mower doesn't show up as capital in Public Works. If that can be squared away, and just let us know about that. Any other questions for Tony on parks? Okay, if hearing none and moving right along. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. The last group we have on here is town building, which would be Mr. Connors. So I saw him sign on, and I see his mic is muted. So this is his big chance to speak. So
Good
Tim,
evening,
it's all
everybody.
yours.
Thank you very much. Pretty much our budget, everybody has it in front of them. We have a couple increases. The major one is actually the salaried employees, which from my understanding is the reason it being so is the past two increases for our employees were not listed in those previous budget years. So the two increases for last year and the year before were not listed. That's why our numbers are off so much. The second thing is we increased our overtime budget due to the fact we do have one of our employees out on workman's comp. He's been out for a while and he's back out again. So that increased our budget right there. So we put in another $5,000 over our original budget. And the final one is our general supplies went from 8,000 to 10,000. Reason being is just COVID-related items also. Everything just seems to increase, just, even down to what we use in the buildings has increased dramatically just because of the demand. But everything else is pretty much straightforward. All our heating, electrical, everything is just our basic 3% increase. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Tim, this is Bill. What went on with the regular employee salary? What was left out?
Their increases, their yearly increases, they weren't budgeted for last year or
Yeah.
the previous year. So when you break down the numbers, what was happening was, the actual cost per employee didn't actually meet
Yep.
the actual number that you had budgeted before.
So whereas it was budgeted at 169 for 2021's budget, the one we're sitting in now, it's going up to 211, which is about a 52 grand increase. But that's just because the increases.
Well, you have two employees, or actually 3 employees at that time, where their yearly
Okay.
increases that you allow for them were not budgeted for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and if you look at the actual for 2019, 2020, you'll see it's 194.
Okay. Yep, I got it. Thank you, Tom.
That's why it looks so high.
I'm
and we
just
put in an
curious, how
additional
did this?
We put in an additional increase of $10,000 into the repairs and maintenance for the buildings. And now that's just an ongoing
Yeah,
battle.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Well, hopefully, as we have talked at a bunch of different meetings, as we're all aware of, if we can ever get the Board of Ed out of where they are and unload Bank Street, let's say, that's
Exactly.
got to cut down on some of these numbers. And as I half kiddingly said, sign the back of the deed and give it to anybody that shows interest.
I 100% agree with you. 100% agree.
Because
We'll make room for them somewhere if you get it
with that
sold.
building, yeah, we're just throwing good money after bad.
Oh, without a
with that
doubt.
building.
And it's
Just-
been like that for
and,
years.
And that's exactly right. And at some point, it's got to stop.
100%
Because,
agree.
I mean, we're, between heat and there is no energy efficiency there and et cetera, the town's taking a hit for no reason. And what was good back in 1980 is terrible now. So hopefully between the Board of Selectmen and maybe the economic people and all, we can find a way to just unload that. And if we have to do something with the lease with Valley Health, we look to do it.
Yeah.
And if, just as an aside, if Valley Health wanted that building, Merry Christmas, as far as I'm concerned. Here,
I'm right along with you.
it's we're happy to do it. I'm just quite puzzled. If I could ask Doug, are you on a question? How did the numbers get missed for the employees in putting the budget together? Because I mean, we're relying on the numbers that come through. Obviously, that affects the mill rate. That affects everything we do in terms of tax collections and budgeting percentages of collection. But that's a heck of a difference. I mean, any way you look at it, I'd like to get some background as to kind of what happened, because I certainly don't want to go through this again.
Yeah, I can go back and take a
questions at
look.
all Yeah, I mean, please do, because I think our board would like an answer on it. We're trying to get numbers as good as possible, and we rely on the numbers as they're put together, obviously, for us to look at, and something got missed. I'm thinking, and that's the only way I can describe it. But if you can figure out what's what, please let us know, because I think in fairness to our board and in fairness to Tim, who's running his department, we kind of like to wrap our arms around this stuff. Any questions for Tim as to mechanics, line items, anything at all?
No, I
Bill,
don't
I have a question for Tim.
Okay, go ahead, Jim.
I was just curious, do they have like an ongoing account for like updates in the building heating systems and things like that? Do they like put money aside every year to try and update the buildings?
I mean, what we do for the buildings that we do have, like we just, the police department, we did in the town hall, they just had that, part of that project that was done previously when I first started here with the upgrade of the windows and the heating systems. We put into a contract with ESC as our maintenance contract for our heating systems. For 98
Right.
Bank, we really don't have anything because the system's so old. It's just, we do our basic maintenance every year. You know, we change the filters every couple of weeks. We stay on top of, you know, our servicing, you know, at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season. So we're trying to limp it along as much as we could and not try to, you know, because to do a service contract on such an old building, that and community center also, you know, we're just throwing good money after bad at that point.
Well, for like large ticket items, like say you have a couple roofs that are coming due, you can kind of guesstimate when they're due. They're a lot of money. So do you have any kind of money aside every year for things like that?
We don't have anything for roofs. We do have for the elevators in certain buildings. Not that we're trying to, you know, we know that the community center roof is going to need to be done if we keep that building. So that's just a thorn in the side right there we're waiting on.
Right.
You said for, you know,
But like all
what was that?
like all the schools, like you must do evaluation every couple of years, see how they are. If you know when's coming up, you know, they're very
Correct.
expensive. So
Yep, town hall, the fire department, they just had the roofs done recently in the past project. I think the hill was done, I think 10 years ago. So we still have, and again, those were the 30-year roof shingles that were used on those units. So we're
Right.
safe there. We don't have, right now, we do not have, like I said, the only thing we do budget for it is for elevators right as of this moment.
Yeah, the only two
There's
buildings
some
that we
large-
really don't have anything on concerning the roofs are the community center and the 98 Bank Street. All the other roofs have been either repaired or replaced recently. We just finished the roofs at Citizens Firehouse and the library, so everything should be in pretty good condition.
So like the Bungay School, that's a flat roof, right?
Yep.
Yeah, just like things like that are big ticket items.
Yeah, well, Bungay was just replaced also. That's in the process right now. Bungay School.
Okay.
The high school's roof was replaced also. The middle school has a 50-year warranty on that. So we're still safe on that end. We're only into the 18th year on that building. And Chatfield.
Right, that's the,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a steel roof. Yeah, I remember that one. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and most of the
Okay,
heating
that's it.
systems are updated also with this past
Right.
Johnson Control project, especially the high school. The high school new boilers, Bungay has new boilers. Middle schools were revamped on the inside. All new tubing was put in this past summer. We did that over. So we're maintaining those as we could with what we have. But we all have service contracts at the schools for our maintenance and our
Right.
controls on those also.
I was curious also, do you have mostly gas burners? Are you retrofitting from oil to gas anywhere?
Yep, we changed over Bungay's to gas, high school's gas. We just changed over to Citizens is gas now. Also, I think the only thing we have left on oil is 98 Bank. Actually, Town Hall was changed over to gas also. So all we have is 98 Bank, Community Center, and I think the firehouse on Great Hill, and that's it for oil.
Well, that's good to hear because that helps your bottom line, obviously, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, just the maintenance alone, just changing oil from oil to gas is a big difference.
Right. I'm just curious, was there any incentives from the utilities to do that?
Yes, that's why we did most of our project through the Johnson Controls.
Oh, that's okay. That was part of that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Anyone else with questions for Tim? Off of, and this may be an offshoot question, Tim,
Mhm.
and it maybe goes to Tony or to you. We're now in whatever, I think it's what, year 3 of Johnson Controls? We've budgeted under town building utilities a 3% increase of about 275,000, up from like 267,000. Do we have any kind of information as to projected savings that, to validate these numbers of what we're estimating for electricity and all of that? Because I know last year, I think it was last year, where the answer Johnson gave was it's too soon to tell. And now we're another year into it. So I'm wondering, when can we get some kind of analysis as to results and a projection to let us know that, the upcoming 275 that everybody's estimating for electricity primarily is good. And it's not going to be, gee, it's going to be 300.
Yeah,
Because I know we've
exactly.
got a middleman supposedly.
Yeah. I have nothing myself. I don't know if Tony has anything, but I
Yeah,
can
I
reach
just-
out to
I don't-
Johnson Controls.
Yeah, we've had
Yeah.
some information. The biggest savings that's going to accrue to the town will come from the solar panels that are put on the roofs at the schools. Unfortunately, that project was delayed and it's just being completed now. So we're really not going to see the big numbers until that's fully online.
Do we have a clue as to, let's call it, the little numbers? I mean, I get, that the solar project was a big deal and it's going to be, it is what it's going to be, and we should see some really good savings. But how about the other stuff that we're talking about? Fire departments, town hall, all of that kind of stuff. Is there anything that's tangible we can put our hands on from Johnson or our, let's call him the middleman rep from the management company that we use?
See, I'm not sure because like the lighting and the boiler upgrades and stuff like that. We haven't seen a full cycle yet
Yep.
of a season. So I think we'll have to wait to see on that end to see what we
Okay.
actually save on that end versus, solar is the solar. That's a whole different animal. As soon as the solar kicks in.
Understood.
Yeah. But for the
Understood.
boilers and items like that, even like at the school side of it, even the electrical savings that we'll see without the solar is kind of much pushed through the
Yep.
roof because of the new requirements for the fresh air that we're bringing into the building. Because now we get, that affects our heating costs also. Because now between, you got the heat running, the windows open, because that's an option that's allowed to teachers, that they could open their windows during, just to have the more fresh air come through. Even though certain schools don't necessarily need it, they're still by state standards, they're allowed to do that. So, you open up your window at your house while your heat's running, it's still gonna keep running. So, it doesn't change just because it's a school. So that's where we're, this year is gonna be a tough one to judge because of the amount of, I don't want to call it waste, but the amount of waste that we're gonna have. Even with our, our fresh air intakes are open 100%. During the winter, they're usually, 10 to 20% max. And, just that alone is going to push our utility numbers up. So it's going to be a strange year.
Exactly right. And to that point, what we're trying to make or get as close as we can, Tim, to is what we're calling utility budget. Separate,
Correct.
separate. Is that a good number? Because
No, I understand. Is that 3% going to cover, or is it going to be 9%? Yeah, that's
it. That's exactly right. I don't know if Johnson can shed light on it, or you and Tony can do some crunching of the numbers or whatever. But it's like the Price is Right. We want to get as close as we can without going over.
correct.
But if
No,
that
totally
if that
understand.
275, if that 275 should be 310, or just making up numbers,
Yeah,
then it is what it is. If we've got to put 310 in, we put 310 in. So we don't get caught off guard. So maybe,
Okay.
the process for budgets, as you're aware, has just started. But
Yep.
if the two of you can maybe give it your best guesstimate as to what this stuff looks like. And if it's 3%, okay, that's fine. But if some buildings and all should be 4% or 5% or whatever, do that too. Because
Okay.
we'd rather err to be cautious than, just all of a sudden get this big surprise at the end.
No, totally understand. So we could take like the last 2 months and try to evaluate from there and just shoot forward and see
Yeah.
where we stand, just to get a ballpark number on our end.
Yeah,
I mean, Tony and I can meet together and go over that.
yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. I mean, that would be very, very helpful. Does
All right, no
anybody else
problem.
have any questions for Tim on anything in that budget? Betty Ann, go ahead.
I just have one. There's no way to separate the 98 Bank Street Town Hall Community Center at all. It just comes in as a lump sum.
I mean, we could probably break it down so you see where, it's, I'll go over to Tony, see if we could break each individual building down so you can see where the money's actually going for each one. I'm sure it can be done. It's going to be a rude awakening when we see what we're spending on 98 Bank.
Right.
And
Right.
It's not going to be predictable.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to stir up the pot, but
no, exactly.
aside from asking what the taxes are,
Yeah.
I might take it. But
It's
Yeah.
not going to be predictable because Tim can attest to that. We get surprises all the time from those buildings.
Yes.
Did I hear Betty
Yeah.
Ann say that she wanted that building? Oh, we'll give that
Yes.
down.
zip, 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 zip. No. But I do work with developers.
Okay.
But I don't want to cause issues with it, but I'm curious if it's not an audacious, attempt to get it, even if the
Yeah.
electric company, utility company can supply that information for us.
Okay.
I think it might help.
I think that's probably a worthwhile question. We don't have to adjust the budget line items in your budget, Tim, for it, but I
Yeah.
think it would be helpful to know just, what falls out for heat and utilities and whatever, just so we kind of get an idea.
See where we
we
stand
don't
on
have
each
to
building like
reconstruct
that.
the budget.
No,
and the
I totally
line items.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so we,
You
you have some sort of
that would
idea
be
of,
helpful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you.
might be
Yeah.
not, you might not like it, but we'll at least know what it
Well,
is.
and maybe that also gives a bigger push to, put a for sale sign or,
Correct.
tag sale, take it, like you see when people leave stuff on the curb.
Exactly. Big 3
Okay,
sign.
any other? Yeah, that's it. Any other questions for Tim on what we're talking about here on the buildings and stuff? Well, everybody's quiet in that regard. Tim, thank you very much, and for all your help and what you do, and we'll look forward to getting some information.
Okay.
Very good. I think, well, that concludes our session. Doug, can you get the information that we asked about, get it to us prior to Monday?
Yeah, I'll work on it tomorrow. You want the whole spreadsheet for all the departments and have those all checked.
What?
And then go and update the actual to say tomorrow's date.
Yes.
That's fine by me. Whatever's in our budget book has to coincide with the printout, which includes all the departments. So that when we look at the printout that you give us and it says proposed budget request, it's the same thing as going to be in our budget books, because that's the only
Okay.
way we're going to be able to make any decisions. And you're right. And the actual should be if you can do it as of tomorrow, home run. We'll take it.
Just a minor,
Okay.
just a minor detail.
Yeah, so some of those changes were made because the first select woman and the other departments met and they discussed it. But anyway, I'll change them back.
Yeah, I mean, we just, as I said, we need to know what we're looking at. If for each, you have our budget book too. So we've got however many
Right.
tabs, have however many budgets. It's got to be on that printout too. So we've got it like 2 spots, everything's equal and not, not have differences and things, because as a board, when we go through all of these departments and these line items, we want to make sure if we're taking something out of a line item based on your department detail, it's the same thing as the individual's department that presented to us. That's not, there's no differences or anything like that. It makes for
Okay.
it makes for a less confusing time. Okay, that said, Monday at 7:00, we have the Board of Ed, and they're the only people on Monday's agenda for this happy group. And then next Wednesday, we've got 4 spots: recreation, I guess, library, tax collector, etc. So with that, I'll close down the budget meeting, and everybody stay safe and warm and careful on the roads.
Same Zoom link?
Well, Rory will send out, like he did
Yeah,
last week.
I'll be sending them out
The-
1 week in
the 2
advance.
invites?
That way you guys don't have, 100 different invitations.
Okay. You all the better. And to Rory's point, it's also on the town website, because I found it when I clicked on it and looked in there. So all that considered, see everybody on Monday.
Bye,
Take care,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you,
Have a good
Tim.
night. Take care.
I see you
Have a
Monday.
Good one. Stay safe, everybody.